Well, if it has a familiar ring, that's because it's happened before. This week, the New York Times obtained documents revealing that the Fox News channel recently paid out a sexual harassment complaint against star anchor Bill O'Reilly. A bigger payout went to another woman in 2004. Let's just say Bill O'Reilly should be thankful for that bogus Russian dossier on Donald Trump.
Unsubstantiated allegations against Donald Trump and his campaign.
That story and its fallout dominated the news cycle this week, burying a New York Times blockbuster about Fox News settling a sexual harassment suit against O'Reilly.
Caution, you are about to enter the no spin zone.
Certainly no spin on this. One-time Fox anchor Juliette Huddy filed a complaint last fall saying O'Reilly sexually harassed her over a period of several months.
It's just like, come on, people, control yourself.
According to the Times, Fox settled with Huddy in the high six figures. O'Reilly has denied the charges, but the past is prologue.
This brutal ordeal is now officially over, and I will never speak of it again.
That brutal 2004 ordeal was a multi-million-dollar sexual harassment settlement with then-associate producer Andrea Macris, who had tapes to back up her claims.
It's over and I'm happy.
Meanwhile, Fox chief Roger Ailes was ousted last summer after Gretchen Carlson charged sexual harassment with the backing of her superstar colleague.
Tonight, Megyn Kelly reportedly has been interviewed by investigators within Fox.
Now Ailes is gone, Kelly has been wooed away, Carlson is $20 million richer, and there's no way Fox is going to throw its last remaining star to the wolves.
I'm Bill O'Reilly. Please remember that the spin stops here.
Really, this is unspeakably horrible. I mean, Fox News, especially under the Murdoch sons, had said we have an absolute no-tolerance policy. Meanwhile, this woman, Juliette Huddy, also dragged Jack Abernethy, who's now the president of Fox News, into this thing. He sexually harassed her, too. I'm not clear about whether part of the settlement would involve him or not. They both denied it. But, you know, once again, it was the same language. I went back and looked at all that Andrea Macris stuff. That was, and she had tapes. That was really vile. And it follows almost the identical pattern, you know, the phone sex and this and that. As I said before on this air, I actually have some respect for Bill O'Reilly. I like him personally. I mean, he's a very popular anchor, but this kind of stuff, you know, and the only reason Fox is tolerating it is because they've lost their other big star.
Well, the only reason they tolerated him ever is because he brings money in there, and he's an arrogant word I can't use here. I mean, it's a no-spin zone because it should be a no-hand zone because that's what he's been doing. I mean, it's disgusting. This guy is just disgusting. There's other stuff having to do with his personal life, which seems to, some of this plays out in that too. I just, and he will lecture African Americans about family life and morality. Oh, give me a break.
What's troubling about this is that there clearly has been a culture where this was at least accepted, tolerated, people joked about it, you know, turned a blind eye to it. And I feel that anyone who has been in leadership at that network needs to be fired because everyone had to know.
Everybody.
That's right.
I mean, these are things that we sort of heard in the business, like, oh, it's kind of this rumor. But if you were that close to it, you had to have known that something was going on. And this is the kind of thing that you knew happened years and years ago, and you hope that no longer was happening and taking place. And so it's troubling to see that. But to your point, it always comes down to money. And if he didn't have the ratings, if his show didn't make $80 million a year for the network, they would have let him go. And so it's troubling to see that, you know, a lot of businesses will put up and tolerate with things just to help the bottom line.
It's got no traction this week.
Maybe they just don't even get it. I mean, we're long
That's why they need to go.
we're long past the point where characters seem to matter to a preponderance, not just of the executive class, but of the culture in general.
What about
I
the President of the United States?
It didn't matter when Bill Clinton did what he did in terms of people wanting him to stay on as president. Donald Trump, what he did and talked about on that bus, that didn't seem to matter. So that horse has long ago left the barn. It is, I agree with you, it is revolting. I mean, we all have women in our lives who we love and respect, and the thought of them being treated that way in their workplace just makes you want to throw up.
The details of this were just nauseating beyond belief.
Although some of it was a little questionable too, because she went to his hotel room to return a key. There's a lot of other ways to return keys.
Yeah,
how about never?
Indeed, there are.
You're assuming she put it in his hand. Never mind.
One thing that I want to try to be a little bit forward-looking about this. There's a theory that Fox got a little bit lucky with Megyn Kelly's departure, in that Trump is going to be president, and they were going to be able to put together a solid lineup of Trump, 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 with Megyn Kelly out of the way. If this Bill O'Reilly story keeps mushrooming out of control, this stroke of good fortune that Fox had may end up turning against them.
Well, the only people that really picked this up, and they had the documents, was the New York Times. They didn't see it anywhere else.
Actually, somebody had this before the Times.
Oh,
it was a small website that does very good work, and I can't think of the name of it. But, you know, in the past we've said, well, this will probably just go away. Oftentimes it does. Sometimes it doesn't. So I guess we'll have to see.
I think that he'll be on book tour, and it'll be remiss of someone not to ask him about it. And he will do what I've seen him do when Megyn Kelly was still at Fox, which was come as close as he could to denigrating her without making himself look like he wasn't being some loyal subject to Fox. So there's all of that cross exchange there. You know, he's out there supporting the network, and they're patting him on the back and letting him off with it.
They are denying this, and yet they're paying her out. I mean, it's like
of course.
Ridiculous.
So.